joined now by Ivan Ross from Hill+Knowlton Strategies. You were help moderating with some of the presentations earlier. Can you give me a little backstory to what that was all about?
Well, thanks very much, Nikita, for this. We did two things. H&K presented some very interesting research and polling numbers on Canadians' attitudes, to cannabis. And then we moderated an international panel with people from Uruguay, Denver, Colorado, the UK, and of course we had our own Canadian specialist on that panel.
Awesome. So you know a lot about what's going on in the world of cannabis right now. Can you give us a little bit of information where Canada's standing at the moment and how the legalization process is going so far?
Well, so far it's going fairly good. I mean, House of Commons in Ottawa has passed it, so that's great. We just have to wait for the Senate to do that now. And then hopefully once the Senate's taken a look at it and they've got the royal assent, hopefully in July or before that, we will have cannabis that's legalized across the country. I will say it won't be legalized on July 1st. Canada will not be known as Cannabis Day. That's why.
I was actually going to ask you that because we don't want our flags changing to the cannabis.
No, not at all, not at all. There won't be a 150 pot celebration later on in our lives, yeah.
So with the presentations, can you give me a few little Coles notes on what the presenters were talking about?
Yeah, certainly. On the research side, it's interesting to note, Canadian support for actually legalization has gone from about 60% to 40%, and that's been fairly consistent. But our reasoning is when we look at the numbers primarily because the reality is here. So it's a nice theoretical. And so what we found is generally that Canadians want to have more information, and that's what's lacking right now on how this is all going to roll out, whether it comes to distribution or the products that are available. So I think that explains that number. And then the other thing on the international panel, what we heard from our international guests is everybody is looking at Canada. And they want to see how Canada does this, how they get it right, and then we think other countries will come along and start to do it themselves.
And do you think Canada's doing it right so far?
Well, that's a really good question. On certain aspects, absolutely, others not. And I think that's just part of the growing pains. I am very happy to see that, we've sort of taken things and said, let's legalize it and let's work on it. So I think we will have those growing pains, which is natural, but at least we're heading in the right direction, if I can be diplomatic.